South Kitsap Fire and Rescue was originally formed in 1946. It's a small rural fire department located here in South Kitsap. Since that time, we have merged with multiple different fire districts, including the Burley Fire District, the Glenwood Fire District, the City of Port Orchard, the Sunny Slope Fire Department, Manchester Fire Department, Yukon Harbor. All those fire departments have become one to what we know now today as South Kitsap Fire and Rescue.
So like I said, we're on track to run about 11,000 calls this year. So if you divide that out, it's roughly about 220 calls a week.
What they found over time, and we see this even today, that as we consolidate our resources, we become more efficient. So rather than having 16 fire chiefs and 16 training chiefs and 16 medical chiefs, we have one fire chief, one operations chief. All of our resources, all of our training is done together, all of our facilities are shared, all of our fuel is shared, everything comes together. We become a much more efficient fire department for our citizens. We have 12 fire stations located throughout the fire district. Our fire district covers the areas from the city of Bremerton to the Pierce County line, and then the Mason County line over to the water, and including Blake Island. Throughout that 117 square miles, we have those 12 fire stations, and most of them are located where they were built in the original. We have some fire stations that were built in the 1960s, several stations built in the 70s, and then our most recent was built in, 3 of them were built in the 90s. And so most of them are strategically located just based off of where we merged and where we came from.
We have 3 stations, what we call in the core, which is headquarters, the station that we're at today, Station 31 on Tremont, and Station 11 off of Bethel. So those are kind of our core stations, and they run a majority of the calls.
We have a fleet of over 60 different vehicles, or 60 vehicles in South Kitsap Fire and Rescue. That ranges from staff cars, which are just Ford Escapes or pickup trucks or just normal passenger vehicles, all the way up to our 65,000-pound ladder truck that has a ladder that'll go 107 stories high, 170 feet high. We have fire engines, we have ambulances, we have vans, we have water trucks, we have brush trucks, we have a whole array, but like I said, 60 vehicles in the fleet for South Kitsap Fire and Rescue. Fire prone, obviously as your population increases, you're being more susceptible to fires within your fire district. On an average, we run about 50 structure fires or building fires in that year. So out of that 10,700 calls, only 50 of those, fortunately, were building fires. That's still a high number, but we also fight other fires, whether it's vehicle fires, whether it's wildland fires, chimney fires, different fires like that. So on an average, we run probably in the neighborhood of 1,000 different types of fires a year within South Kitsap.
We also have people that are assigned as wildland firefighters, so they have extra training to do the wildland type fires. We just sent a crew back down to California back this last October, beginning of November, to help in those fires that were down there.
Number one cause of fires in South Kitsap, really our top 3, unattended cooking fires is one of them. Chimney fires is another one, and then electrical fires are another one. But our number one fire is a kitchen or our stovetop cooking fire is one of our biggest ones. The most common injury in South Kitsap, which is probably all across the nation, is any type of an injury from a fall. We fall off a roof, fall out of a car, it'd be fall from a standing position, but that is our number one call that we see in South Kitsap for patients. And large in part in South Kitsap, which may be different in other areas of our community or of our county, is fall victims are sometimes attributed to the age of your population. And South Kitsap enjoys, it's a retirement community, if you will. People come out and retire. And so we have people who are the elderly are more susceptible to fall patients.
We have a lot of different things that we're trained in. As a firefighter EMT, we're trained in firefighting skills and also medical skills. We do have different people on our agency that are trained as what we call technical rescue.
We have, the normal day-to-day call that we go on. The 70% of what we do is medical services, people that are sick, injured, that type of stuff. But that other 30% makes up for people that are trapped or entangled in some type of environment that they need special teams to come in and help. That can be as a result of a car wreck where they need to use the extrication tools or the hydraulic tools to remove the compartment people around. It may be a person over a cliff or a person stuck maybe in a tree. So we have a dedicated team of 8 individuals who have taken their training to another level, and they're part of a tech rescue team. And they are highly trained. They can go into confined space, they can go into trenches, they can climb, they can rappel, they can do good extrication on people that are really entangled in cars and that type of stuff. So we do support a team of 8 highly trained tech rescue individuals that back us up and do those roles for us.
Another rescue thing that we also do is we have what we call rescue swimmers. And so we've got 14 people that are trained as rescue swimmers right now.
Anybody who knows our fire department in the South Kitsap community, we're surrounded by water. We actually have about 21 to 23 square miles of 23 miles of shoreline, not to mention all the little lakes that we might have with Horseshoe and Long Lake. And some of the other ones that are out there. So we do have a water rescue team of about 11 to 13 individuals that are, again, firefighters who have taken extra classes and training. And they go into the water, whether it's in the Puget Sound or in the lakes, and do underwater rescue. They don't use breathing tanks, they're not scuba divers, but they do float out and do swim out and can pull people out. We on an average respond to somewhere between 25 and 30 water rescues a year around the fire district. You'll find in any fire department around anywhere that they are a family. And so when they're coming in the morning, our shifts start at 8 a.m. and they work for 24 hours, so they get off at 8 a.m. the next day. And so somewhere between that 7:30 and 8:15 time frame, you'll see a lot of people kind of coming and going. They're catching up with each other. They haven't seen each other for 2 days or 3 days, whatever their schedule is. And so the atmosphere, it's light, it's fun. They work together. South Kitsap, or any fire department really on that type of a schedule, they're all about teamwork and getting the day going and having fun while they're doing it.
You'll have twice as many people in a station that you'd normally have. So usually the atmosphere is, sometimes you're dealing with a crew that might be extra tired because they were up all night, or sometimes they're having a good morning because they were able to get out and maybe get breakfast or something.
And when the shift starts, to me this is one of the most fun times as a firefighter, because at shift change you get the firefighters coming in and the firefighters going out. But right in that middle is when all the stories are being told. That's when what happened on shift, what stories happened. Did you go on anything cool? Did you break anything? And with that, it's a good time to laugh and have that camaraderie between our brothers and sisters, but it's also a good time to learn.
When we're not running calls, we actually still do stuff around the station. There are weekly chores and duties that need to be done. Anything from cleaning the windows, we do daily apparatus checks. Usually that starts first thing in the morning after pass down. That goes from checking all the equipment, including our air packs and our own personal gear, just to make sure it's in proper working order, as well as things like mopping the floors and even dusting the blinds.
It means a lot to me. I like to give back to the community. I also live here to have fun and enjoy a job. Every day is a new day, and not every day is the same day at work. You
wear this badge on duty, but to act the same way on shift and off shift, because I'm still viewed by the community, by the population in a certain light, even when I'm not in uniform. And so being upstanding, being a man of integrity and compassion.
I think the fire department mission would probably motto my own is to do our job and to do it well, and also to treat people with respect. You know, people are calling us in a time of need, and I think that when they call us, they expect us to show up, be professional, be courteous, and do the right thing.
We're seeing change. Anybody can drive around South Kitsap and see new homes and new areas being built. And we're constantly watching that. We pull data and statistics, math, all of that stuff. And we are constantly looking at what we can do so that we make sure that we meet the needs of the citizens.
On average, we do pretty well in the community. We do go into a lot of houses that don't have working smoke detectors, so make sure you have a working smoke detector in the house. Check the batteries every time the clock changes.
When we do things like build fire stations and make moves, we make those at a strategic level that we hope those decisions are made to last us for 50 years. And so we have committees and people working right now, even today, to plan for the next wave or the next future of our fire department based off the needs that we're seeing within South Kitsap. The growth pushes that, and sometimes that requires you to build new stations or move stations or change alignments or do the things that we have to do. But we do that by looking at our data and watching the growth in our community and making sure that we put people in places where the need is going to be met. All of our reporting now, if you ever have to see 911, you'll see the firefighters show up with a computer in their hand, and they don't have notepads and papers anymore. They've got computers, and that data is transmitted electronically and done that way. So technology is being used everywhere that you can imagine.
I see South Kitsap Fire and Rescue in the future as growing and improving every day. Every day should be better than our last. We have a bunch of talented people here, and with lots of great ideas for making our area great and our fire department great.
A first responder is about being someone who's there for your community. We all have a heart for the people that we serve, that we work for, and we want to help people in their most difficult times. And that's really what a first responder is.
You would see things that reminded you to wear a bike helmet. Something simple as that. We see lots of kids all the time wearing bike helmets. They get severely injured. But, bike helmet might have prevented that. Also, simple things too, like planning an escape route out of your house for a fire. Remember 2 ways out. It's a big thing we preach here.
Take an active role in your community. Find ways that you can help. Whether it's cooking for the homeless, or it's helping someone across the street, or it's doing something nice for somebody. Just be a kind person.